This is the building in which experiments such as these take place. The largest of its kind in Europe, it has been constructed to give the Structures Department of the Royal Aircraft Establishment an extensive facility for research in the fields of airworthiness, structural testing and accident investigation. The development of supersonic aircraft calls for structural tests of a range and complexity undreamt of even 30 years ago. Typical of these requirements is that in the main test frame, 6 overhead bridges are provided, each capable of exerting a pull of 150 tons, while a 4-foot-thick concrete floor takes the strain in the other direction. On the morning of the 6th of June 1966, the stage is set for the visit of Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh to open this new structures laboratory at the Royal Aircraft Establishment, Farnborough. With historic Laffan's Plain, the birthplace of British aeronautical research, in the background, RAE staff begin to gather near number 1 building in readiness to welcome the royal visitors. The inevitable last-minute touches are completed for the reception of the royal party at the director's office. As spectators continue to gather, the Director RAE, Sir Robert Coburn, and Lady Coburn arrive at his office in readiness for the reception of their royal guests and other distinguished visitors. The Minister of Aviation, the Right Honourable Fred Mulley MP, appropriately arrives by air and is greeted by Group Captain Thorne, Commanding Officer Experimental Flying. Guests and other members of the reception party continue to arrive, including Mrs. Mulley. The Lord Ashburton, Lord Lieutenant of the County of Hampshire. Mr. Lees, Deputy Director Equipment of the RAE, and Mrs. Lees. Mrs. Thorne greets Mr. Morgan, Controller of Aircraft, Ministry of Aviation, and Mrs. Morgan. Mr. Holden, Secretary RAE, and Mrs. Holden. And the High Sheriff of Hampshire, Major General R.B. Cook and Mrs. Cook. Expectancy mounts as the last few minutes tick by to the moment everybody has been waiting for. The arrival of Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. Her Majesty and His Royal Highness are received at the Director's office by the Lord Ashburton, who presents Major General Cook, and Mr. Mulley, who then presents Sir Robert and Lady Coburn. Inside the Director's office, further presentations are made, including the RAE Board of Management, and before leaving, the royal pair signed the visitors' book. Meanwhile, at the new Structures Laboratory, other guests are gathering to attend the opening ceremony. Back at the Director's office, the royal party set out on their tour. The route takes them past the historic Cody's tree. After receiving greetings from the families of RAE staff, the procession makes its way across the airfield to the highlight of the day, the opening by Her Majesty of the new Structures Laboratory. The arrival of the royal party at the laboratory is made even more impressive by the massive proportions and huge doors of the main frame building, which make a dramatic setting for the opening ceremony. On the way to the dais, the director presents some leading personalities in the aeronautical research field. Mr. Atkinson, head of Structures Department, Mr. Handel Davis, Director of Civil Aircraft, Ministry of Aviation, Professor Lighthill, Royal Society Professor at Imperial College and a former Director of RAE, Mr. Nicholson, Chief Scientist, Ministry of Defence, Mr. Twin, Ministry of Technology, Dr. Walker, former Head of Structures, now retired. Professor Baxter, President of the Royal Aeronautical Society, and Professor Collar, President of the Aeronautical Research Committee. Next to be presented are Mr. Part, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Buildings and Works, Sir Cecil Mant and Mr. Page of the same department, Mr. Vincent, Chairman of Bovis Holdings Limited, and Mr. Cruikshank of Gilbert Ash Limited, all representing the bodies responsible for the construction of the new laboratory. The stage is now set for the Minister of Aviation to make his speech of welcome.
Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, it is my honour and privilege to welcome you to the Royal Aircraft Establishment. It is Your Majesty's first formal visit, but Your Royal Highness has visited the establishment before, and as an experienced pilot and an aviation enthusiast, it needs no introduction to you. I need not dwell upon the contributions which the establishment has made to the technical prowess of this country. Officially sponsored aeronautical research began in 1878 with an allocation of £150 to Colonel Templar for the construction of a balloon. In direct succession to this event, the RAE was established here in 1905. Incidentally, Your Majesty, the telegraphic address is still Ballooning Farnborough, Hants. Your Majesty has graciously consented to open a group of laboratories costing several £1 million and designed to ensure that in the future the RAE will continue to make a contribution to aeronautical knowledge worthy of its history and of this country. I am equally sure that these laboratories will enable the aeronautical industry to maintain the high quality of British aircraft designs. I should like to pay tribute to the Ministry of Public Buildings and Works, whose architects and engineers have designed and supervised the construction of these buildings, and to Gilbert Ash Limited and the other companies who have built and equipped them. The facilities which you see around you are designed to deal with the structural problems which we can expect to encounter in aircraft designed during the next 20 years. Each of the loading bridges above our heads can exert an upward pull of 150 tons. The floor beneath our feet is 4 foot thick, and we are able to apply intense heat and intense cold. In fact, one might say we have designed the most advanced instrument of torture yet devised. All this to ensure that in aeronautical research, this country stays in the forefront and builds an adequate safety margin into its aircraft. To start with, the main test frame will be busy on the Concorde program, but in it and in the new laboratories which surround it, we shall be carrying out other work ranging from tests on complete aircraft to fundamental research into the nature and behavior of materials from which aircraft are built. We shall place these facilities also at the disposal of other industries and thus make a significant contribution to the research capacity of this country. I now have great pleasure in inviting Your Majesty to unveil a commemorative plaque to mark the commissioning of this new structures building to the service of aviation and British technology.
Thank you for your words of welcome. I'm delighted to be here at the Royal Aircraft Establishment and look forward to seeing something of the work you are doing. The enormous resources of this laboratory demonstrate most vividly the extent to which aeronautical research has developed in the relatively short time since Colonel Templar was given £150 and invited to build a balloon. The Royal Aircraft Establishment has been one of the leaders in this development, and it is now the largest of its kind in Europe. By its fundamental contribution to the science of aeronautics, it has achieved an international reputation. With interests covering all aspects of military and civil aviation and aerospace research, it provides an invaluable training ground for young scientists and engineers who have such a vital part to play in the future of this country. These new structures laboratories will be a powerful addition to the applied research facilities of the Royal Aircraft Establishment, and a further means of increasing the accumulated knowledge and experience of many years, which is such an important feature of the work being done here. All these resources will be needed to meet the demands of the Concorde project, which is one of the most challenging engineering enterprises ever undertaken by this country. Perhaps less dramatic, but equally vital, is the day-to-day work which will continue to make such a significant contribution to the safety of all those who fly. The whole construction, equipment and layout of these laboratories was a major engineering project in itself, and I congratulate all those responsible for their design and building. I now have much pleasure in declaring them open.
Before touring the main frame and other areas of the laboratory, Mr. Tuck, Assistant Director of Technical Facilities, is presented. Also, Mr. Patterson and Mr. Pollard, Senior Engineers of the Ministry of Public Buildings and Works. The first exhibit shown to the royal party is a model of the Structures Laboratory main frame, demonstrating how it will be used for strength testing the Concorde. A convective system for heating and cooling Concorde major structural test specimens is explained to Her Majesty and the Duke and demonstrated by a two-dimensional model. Next comes an explanation of the way in which operational flight data is gathered from civil aircraft on scheduled flights. The contributions to air safety made by information obtained from aircraft accident wreckage analysis are illustrated. Mr. Templeton, Head of Mechanical Engineering Department, is presented. He outlines the work of his department, ranging from aircrew survival equipment to the dropping of heavy loads from the air. The royal visitors are intrigued by this RAE version of the Indian rope trick. This pneumatic device for raising a man or a load to the top of a building is operated by inflating a fabric tube. Not everybody's idea of travel by air. Aircrew functional garments are shown, including the water-cooled suit, the principle of which, incidentally, has been adopted by the Americans. This working model shows how a military vehicle can inflate a fabric side skirt to work as a hovercraft over a river. After crossing, the side skirt is automatically retracted. Next came some impressive exhibits by Space Department. Mr. Burt, head of the department, explained how Black Knight, a radio command beam riding rocket designed by RAE and built by the Saunders Row division of Westland Aircraft Limited, has been used for studying the effects of re-entry into the atmosphere. A full-scale two-stage example is shown. Another exhibit, a 1/8 scale model of Black Arrow, shows the proposed three-stage British satellite launcher designed by RAE. With 2 liquid and 1 solid propellant stages, it is capable of projecting a 200-pound satellite, also on show, into a 300 nautical mile polar orbit. Next to be presented are Dr. Kuckerman, acting head of Aerodynamics Department, and Mr. Hanson, Chief Superintendent of RAE Bedford. The royal visitors now pass a series of slender wing models illustrating developments in wing geometry leading to the plan form for the Concorde. An interesting display by Naval Air Department shows some aspects of research and development for naval aeroplanes, helicopters and hovercraft. Also catapult and arrestor gear for use on aircraft carriers. In the Crete laboratory, Mr. Earwicker, acting head of Chemistry, Physics and Metallurgy Department, tells how RAE scientists have produced a new material called carbon fibre reinforced plastics with applications over the whole field of engineering. A model is used to explain how this RAE technique produces a material stronger and lighter than steel, but able to stand more heat for longer periods without weakening. In the workshop, Mr. Tom Jones, engineer in charge of B&C Division Workshops Department, is presented, and the Queen is told how the RAE workshops are called upon to make the wide range of special equipments and devices needed to support the experimental work of the establishment. A typical example is the manufacture of heads for dummy men used in tests to improve aircrew safety standards. Before leaving the structures laboratory, the royal party pass an aircraft undergoing vibration resonance tests. As a flying man, the Duke is interested in an explanation of the ground resonance apparatus devised at the RAE. Having completed their tour of the new structures laboratory, the royal party leave to see other aspects of the Royal Aircraft Establishment's work. In Y60 building, Her Majesty sees the large Space Environmental Simulator in which UK-3, the first British satellite to be built in the United Kingdom, can be tested under conditions representing the extremes of temperature and low pressure of space. Passing Iveley Gate, the procession of cars again skirts the Farnborough airfield, from which so much pioneer flying research has been carried out. Her Majesty arrives at the workshop in Q65 building. This is typical of the many workshops in various parts of the RAE where skilled craftsmen produce the advanced equipment and models which enable the scientific staff to test their ideas and theories. Inside, Mr. Beer, the chief engineer, accompanies the royal party round the workshops. Great interest is shown in a numerically controlled milling machine which is programmed by a magnetic tape. This machine was used to mill out the light alloy fruit bowl designed in the workshops and presented to the royal couple by Mr. Walton, a senior craftsman. Characteristically, the Duke returns for a more detailed inspection. A rocket-launched model aircraft for testing aerodynamic shapes makes an impressive exhibit. It carries many recording instruments and telemetry equipment for sending information to ground receivers during supersonic flight. Before the royal party leave, the director introduces Mr. Phillips, apprentice instrument maker, who has been chosen to represent the United Kingdom in the 15th Annual International Apprentice Competition. After the morning tour, the royal party returned to the director's office for a short rest. Mr. Houghton, Deputy Director Aircraft, leads the luncheon guests into the staff mess to await the arrival of the royal visitors. Looking fresh and charming in spite of her busy morning, Her Majesty arrives for the official luncheon, accompanied by His Royal Highness and the Director. Meanwhile, the visitors who remained in the new structures laboratory have spent the morning viewing the many exhibits. As lunchtime approaches, a move is made towards the refreshment tents, where suitable preparations have been made. Here it was possible to relax from the complexities of research in the supersonic age. After lunch, the royal party, resuming its tour, makes its way to A shed. On the first stand, Mr. Robinson, Head of Instruments and Electrical Engineering Department, explains the research work done on electronic cockpit displays, the object being to reduce the number and complexity of cockpit instruments and yet improve the information value of the flight directions displayed to the pilot. Mr. Pye, Head of Instrumentation and Ranges Department, is presented to the Queen and the Duke. The design of airborne recording instruments interested the Duke of Edinburgh, particularly a miniature tape recorder recovered from a Black Knight re-entry head after a 400-mile journey into space. Other instrumentation and ranges department exhibits include a number of magnetic tape systems for use in rockets and aircraft. Additional instruments and electrical engineering department exhibits include examples of work on air photography. The Queen shows an interest in stereoscopic pictures taken from the air, and a large photo mosaic of southern England attracted attention. Mr. Charnley, head of Weapons Department, takes Her Majesty and the Duke into a screened Weapons Department area to look at secret items which are under development. The crowd outside A Shed grows as the time approaches for the royal party to leave. As the royal party completes its tour of A Shed, Wing Commander Murley is presented. Presently, he will fly the RAE's reconstructed World War I SE-5A aircraft. Arriving at the airfield base, the royal visitors take their places to see a short flying display by some of the RAE's research aircraft. The first item is the Hawker Siddeley P-1127, which demonstrates its short takeoff. This aircraft, from the aerodynamic flight at RAE Bedford, is the first prototype of the swivel jet vertical or short takeoff and landing jet fighter. The aircraft's high-speed performance and maneuverability are comparable with other standard jet fighters, and yet it has the ability to change quickly from high-speed flight to hover. This is the ultimate in reducing airfield requirements. The Handley Page 115 is another research aircraft from Bedford, and it was specially designed to obtain flight experience of very slender wing plan forms at slow speeds. It was used as the major airborne part of the RAE research program into the Concorde design, the object being to produce a supersonic aircraft with slow landing characteristics. The unusual fuselage shape and fixed undercarriage provided the simplest and cheapest way of getting the wing airborne. The pilot shows how the natural Dutch roll oscillation of the wing at very high incidence can be controlled without automatic assistance. Now comes the turn of the RAE's SE-5A fighter to show its paces. A flashback to Farnborough's past, and well worthy of a place in today's display. One of the most successful fighters of World War I, the SE-5A was designed at Farnborough at the Royal Aircraft Factory, as it was then called. Some 5,000 were produced by the end of the war, no fewer than 238 being built here at Farnborough. This particular machine was reconstructed by RAE apprentices from the skeleton of an SE-5A originally in the possession of the famous Shuttleworth aircraft collection. Endowed with remarkable diving and zooming qualities, the great structural strength of the SE-5A enabled it to be dived at high speeds without breaking up. It is interesting to recall that ace pilots like Mannock, McCudden and Bishop scored the majority of their victories whilst flying the SE-5 and 5A. The landing of the SE-5A brings us to the last item in the flying display, which is a demonstration by Mechanical Engineering Department of a technique developed for the ultra-low-level airdropping of military or other heavy stores. The aircraft used for this exercise is a Blackburn Beverley, and as it approaches the dropping zone, it makes a rapid descent to some 30 feet, representing a descent into a jungle clearing. In this demonstration, the load, a vehicle weighing 11,000 pounds, is secured to a specially designed sled, which is pulled out of the aircraft by a parachute. The flying display over, the royal visitors prepare to leave. Her Majesty takes leave of the official party and after saying goodbye to His Royal Highness, enters her car to return to Windsor by road. As a fitting termination to a day devoted to aeronautics in its varied aspects, the Duke departs in an Andover aircraft of the Queen's flight, which he pilots himself. And so ends a very successful day in the annals of the Royal Aircraft Establishment. A great day, too, for those who work there. It has brought them the honour and privilege of demonstrating to Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh what goes on behind the Farnborough gates today. A worthy continuation of the spirit and traditions of the early pioneers of flight, who first made the name Farnborough part of aeronautical history.